Hello everyone. So recently I was able to get into second place in a Digimon TCG Store Regionals, and I played the Jesmon deck and really enjoyed it. I think this is a fun deck to play. I've been loving playing it for a while now, and I wanted to make a playmat for it for myself in the style of Studio Trigger or Gurren Lagann. As you know, I am a huge fan of Gurren Lagann and Studio Trigger as a whole, so I wanted to throw something together and test out the waters. Now, the sketch phase, I had a few different ideas of what I was going to do and how it was going to work. So I wanted to throw some ideas out and seeing how it will turn out. And I came across to the second idea was probably the most popular one that everyone liked. So I went with that and continued on from there. Now, during this time, I did practice quite a bit, trying to mimic the style of Studio Trigger and their artists. I have a few books that are of their sketchbooks. I have a few obviously shows and things that I was able to look up. And I did a few tests while working on this just to make sure that I was getting the correct vibe that I wanted for this piece. And I definitely wanted to get this into those bright colors, those sketchy line arts, the very fluid movements of everything, and seeing how I could work this out. And with this second design, I definitely think I got really, really close to the style is. Obviously, I'm not perfect on the style, but I think this is definitely in the right direction of what I wanted for this illustration design. It is going to be a playmat, so I'm very excited for that. And figuring out which line piece, because I did watch a bunch of their YouTube videos of them actually going through the process of making their art, and they used a very specific, I think it was a Gen ink brush on the vector layer for Clip Studio Paint for their line art, which is really cool. I did a lot of watching of how they worked out the different ways that they made their characters on Studio Trigger, and this was a huge study slash master copy style esque thing. I wouldn't say master copy, but directly, but it was definitely a style study for this piece, and I think it definitely turned out a lot better towards the end, which you will see here soon. I did separate each character and their line art to different layers so that I could render out the characters correctly. It wasn't until I got into some of the color choicing that I needed to do a little bit more specifics on how I wanted to do colors. I did choose to pick colors directly from, their shows like Gurren Lagann, Kill la Kill, things like that, just to make sure that I was able to get the vibrant colors that I wanted. And that was kind of where I got most of the colors from, is actually just screen picking, because I'm not sure how they figure out their colors just yet. I think sometimes they're just good at figuring out their color theory that they're wanting to go through. And the line art for Jesmon was almost as difficult as it was for when I did line art for Gundramon in my last commission. And this was super fun to just try to exaggerate the pieces and focus more on the colors, the crisp attitude, and just the drawing of it, instead of trying to make everything crisp and clean. Because that's what I learned from watching Studio Trigger's illustration process, is they're not worried about the zoomed in minor details. They're more worried about everything looking cohesive and connected and at least drawn. So I found that to be kind of reassuring in a way for when I was working on this piece. And trying to get all the details of these characters was great. Now that I went through all of that and that explanation, the cool things that I know, the little fun facts about Jesmon, Sistermon, Genkumon, and all that, is obviously with them being called Sistermons, this group of Digimon of the Royal Knights variety are very religious in nature. Sistermons, obviously. But when it comes to Jesmon, there are two categories for his name sake. First, it's Justice Edge Sword Mon, or in other forms, it is a theory that he's also named after Jesus. So it's Jesusmon. And so I think that actually works out a lot better because it's kind of the situation with everything that's going on for this character. And I definitely think that this is a really, really cool aspect for everything that was going on with this piece. Seeing that and thinking about it, being able to be like, oh, cool, there's where this design came from, there's with this. And it's kind of interesting of the situation. And with the Sistermons, they definitely have their own little quirks. There were the band designs for the states because they wore specifically darker, more nun-like outfits. And they also had cross guns, like the holy symbol of a cross as a gun. And I'm still kind of confused about that. I know that some people are like, well, it's for the kids. They banned it because the kids can't really see that in the States. Da 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 da. But then I look and there's other video games that have the exact same designs aspects for these characters. Or not these characters, but their characters, where it's a nun with guns or whips and stuff. And I'm like, I don't see, maybe it was just during the time or something where those were banned. Other than that, I think that these character designs are very cool. They definitely give off the more like believing yourself vibe that Gurren Lagann gives, and just pushing all of that type of stuff forward is really, really cool. And I hope you guys enjoy this video. I'm definitely enjoying trying to get back into doing more YouTube stuff and trying to get this type of interaction a little bit more frequently. But with this piece, I enjoyed the process and enjoyed the way that I could just have fun with this piece, because this was a personal project for me. I didn't do a commission of this or anything. And if you like this, let me know in the comments. Let me know what your favorite Digimon is, or if you have a favorite group of Digimon. And definitely like this video or subscribe if you like what I do. And I will definitely see you guys in the next video. And thank you so much for watching. Bye.